Life is full of uncertainties, but worry has never been the solution. It drains your energy, blinds your vision, and keeps you chained to fear. Trusting God with the things you cannot control is the ultimate act of faith. It's a declaration that He is bigger than your battles, wiser than your plans, and faithful to His promises. Worry often stems from the illusion that you must handle everything on your own, that every challenge must be met with your strength, and every obstacle overcome by your wisdom. This mindset places an unbearable burden on your shoulders, leaving you weary and anxious. But consider this truth: you were never created to bear the weight of the world. There are limits to human ability, and those limits are not weaknesses, they are reminders of our design. You were made to depend on something greater, someone greater. When you acknowledge your limitations, you step into a realm of freedom. It is not a concession of defeat, but a declaration of trust. You recognize that there are things beyond your control, storms you cannot calm, seasons you cannot hasten, and outcomes you cannot determine. In that recognition, you release yourself from the pressure to be all-knowing and all-powerful, roles that only God can fill. The wisdom here is profound. Instead of wrestling with circumstances beyond your capacity, surrender them. By doing so, you open the door for divine intervention. It is in the space of your limitations that God's strength is revealed. When you stop striving to control the uncontrollable, you position yourself to experience the supernatural. Your limitations are not barriers, they are opportunities for God to show His ability to do exceedingly and abundantly above all you could ask or imagine. This shift in perspective allows you to move from anxiety to peace. You no longer feel the need to manipulate every detail or anticipate every outcome. Instead, you focus on what is within your power, your actions, your attitude, and your trust. The rest you leave to God. Trusting Him with what you cannot control is not abandoning responsibility. It is recognizing that your responsibility ends where His sovereignty begins. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. Understanding God's sovereignty is foundational to living a life free from worry. Sovereignty means supreme authority, complete control, and unmatched power. When you grasp this truth, you begin to see your challenges in a new light. Nothing you face catches God off guard. He knows the end from the beginning, and every detail of your life is under His care. His sovereignty is not just a concept, it is a reality that governs everything seen and unseen. Life may feel unpredictable, but God's perspective is far greater than ours. Where we see obstacles, He sees opportunities. Where we see closed doors, He sees redirection. He orchestrates everything with purpose, even when it doesn't make sense to us. This is why trusting in His sovereignty requires faith. It demands that you let go of the need to understand everything and rest in the knowledge that He does. When you trust His sovereignty, you begin to realize that what appears as chaos to you is order to Him. He is not bound by time or circumstances. He exists outside of them, yet works through them for your good. Even the delays and disruptions that frustrate you are part of a divine process that leads to a better outcome. The things you cannot control are not random. They are being woven into a tapestry of purpose by a God who sees the entire picture. This understanding doesn't mean life will be free from challenges, but it does mean you can face them with peace. You no longer have to wrestle with the why of every situation. Instead, you can trust that there is a who behind it all, guiding and shaping events according to His perfect plan. He is not just aware of your struggles, He is actively working in them. This is the essence of sovereignty. It is not passive observation, but active involvement. When you embrace this truth, your worries begin to fade. You stop trying to control outcomes that were never yours to manage. You rest in the assurance that the one who holds the universe also holds you. This is not blind faith. It is faith rooted in the character of a God who has proven time and again that He is faithful, wise, and loving. Surrendering to His sovereignty is not giving up, it is giving over, releasing your fears and trusting in the one who controls it all. Focusing on today is a principle of wisdom that liberates your mind from the weight of unnecessary burdens. Worry often pulls you into the future, into a realm you cannot control, filling your heart with fear over what-ifs and uncertainties. Yet you were never meant to live in tomorrow before it arrives. Life was designed to be experienced one moment at a time. This is why you must discipline your mind to stay present, fully engaged with the opportunities and challenges of today. When you focus on today, you recognize that each day is a gift, complete with its own set of tasks and blessings. Every morning you are given enough strength, grace, and resources for the day at hand. But when you allow your thoughts to drift into the unknown future, you drain your energy by trying to solve problems that haven't even occurred. This unnecessary striving robs you of peace and prevents you from seeing the beauty of the present moment. Living in today does not mean ignoring the future. It means trusting that the future is in the hands of the one who knows it perfectly. It means planning wisely but refusing to let anxiety dictate your thoughts. Each day carries its own share of challenges, but it also carries opportunities for growth, gratitude, and purpose. When you focus on the present, you can give your best to what is before you, knowing that tomorrow will come with its own provisions and solutions. Staying present also deepens your connection with God. He moves in the now, not in the hypothetical situations of the future. When you focus on today, you position yourself to hear His voice, to sense His guidance, and to respond to His direction. You become aware of His provision in the little things, the sunrise, a kind word, a moment of clarity. These are the signs of His presence, reminding you that you are not alone. This mindset also allows you to approach life with faith rather than fear. When you focus on today, you stop carrying the weight of what if this happens or how will I handle that. Instead, you trust that the same God who provided for you yesterday will provide for you tomorrow. You let go of the need to have all the answers and instead live with the confidence that each day's portion will be enough. By focusing on today, you reclaim your peace, your purpose, and your power. You stop being paralyzed by the unknown and start living with intentionality. You stop being distracted by fear and start being fueled by faith. Today is where your life is happening, where your choices matter, and where your growth occurs. When you give your full attention to today, you open the door for God to work in ways that prepare you for tomorrow. Turning worry into prayer is one of the most powerful practices you can engage in when life feels overwhelming. When you are consumed with anxiety, fear, or doubt, your natural response might be to focus on the problem, analyzing every angle, and trying to fix what's broken. However, the Bible teaches us that prayer is the key to transforming our worries into something much more powerful: faith in action. Prayer is not merely a religious ritual or a list of requests. It is a relational communication with the Creator, the one who knows you fully and loves you unconditionally. When you turn your worries into prayer, you are not informing God of something He doesn't know. Rather, you are acknowledging His authority over your circumstances and placing your trust in His wisdom, power, and timing. You are shifting from a mindset of fear and self-reliance to one of trust and surrender. In those moments of anxiety, prayer acts as a redirecting force. It takes your focus off the problem and redirects it to the solution, God Himself. You stop looking at the size of the mountain and start gazing at the greatness of the one who can move it. Prayer brings you into alignment with divine purpose, reminding you that nothing is impossible for God. It is not about manipulating God's will to match your desires. Rather, it is about submitting your will to His, knowing that He works all things for your good, even when you don't understand the path. The act of prayer brings peace to your soul. It is a release and unloading of the weight you were never meant to carry. When you pray, you are not simply asking God to change your situation, you are also allowing Him to change you. Prayer shifts your perspective, calms your emotions, and restores your inner strength. It invites the peace of God, which transcends understanding, to guard your heart and mind. Your worries, once placed in God's hands, lose their grip on you because you trust in the one who holds the future. Moreover, prayer is not a one-time event. It is a continual practice. It is the act of coming before God day by day to surrender your anxieties, renew your trust, and align your heart with His. The more you turn your worries into prayer, the more you build a habit of trusting God. In this process, prayer becomes less about seeking immediate relief and more about cultivating an ongoing relationship with the one who holds your life in His hands. Through prayer, you invite God's presence into your circumstances. It is in the quiet moments of prayer that you can hear His voice, receive His guidance, and feel His peace. You may not always get the answer you want, but you will always receive the assurance that He is with you. Prayer strengthens your faith, solidifies your trust, and gives you the courage to face whatever comes your way, knowing that you are never alone. In the end, turning your worry into prayer is an act of surrender and trust. It is a refusal to let anxiety dominate your thoughts and a choice to let God take the lead. It is an acknowledgement that you cannot control everything, but the one who controls all things is faithful and trustworthy. And in that trust, your heart finds rest. Meditating on God's promises is a powerful tool in overcoming worry and anxiety. In a world filled with uncertainties, the mind naturally seeks stability, and it is in God's promises that we find the firm foundation upon which we can stand. His promises are not mere words, they are unbreakable truths, declarations of his commitment to us and guarantees of his faithfulness. These promises transcend time, culture, and circumstances. They are the surest thing we can rely on when everything around us seems unstable. When you meditate on God's promises, you are choosing to focus your thoughts on his truth rather than the shifting realities of life. Meditation in this sense is not just about repetitive thinking, but about allowing his word to permeate your heart and mind, shaping your perspective and transforming your outlook. The promises of God are not just abstract ideas, they are living, breathing declarations of his character and his covenant with his people. They are reminders that no matter what you face, God's word remains steadfast and true. The more you meditate on God's promises, the more your mind becomes aligned with his will. The truth of his word begins to drown out the lies of fear, doubt, and insecurity. When you are filled with his promises, you become grounded in the knowledge that you are not facing life's challenges alone. His presence is with you, and his word is your shield, protecting you from the lies that seek to derail your peace. When you focus on his promises, you begin to see your situation through a different lens, not as a hopeless challenge, but as an opportunity for God to show his faithfulness. The promises of God also serve as reminders of his ability to keep his word. He has never failed to fulfill a promise, and he will not start with you. No matter how long it takes or how difficult the path may seem, God's timing is perfect and his plans for you are good. His promises remind you that you are not at the mercy of circumstances, but that you are being held in the hands of a faithful God who works everything for your good. As you meditate on these promises, you begin to internalize them. They move from being words on a page to being truths that shape your identity and guide your actions. When you truly believe that God is for you, that he is your protector, that he will never leave or forsake you, you begin to walk with confidence, peace, and boldness. Worry and fear lose their grip because your mind is anchored in the unchanging promises of God. Moreover, meditation on God's promises strengthens your faith. It builds a spiritual foundation that can withstand the storms of life. In times of difficulty, you don't have to search for hope because hope has already been provided in God's promises. You no longer rely on your own strength or understanding, but rest in the assurance that God's word is true and his promises are faithful. In essence, when you meditate on God's promises, you are not just seeking comfort, but you are building a deep, unshakable trust in his faithfulness. You are renewing your mind, transforming your thoughts, and setting your heart on the eternal truths that cannot be moved. The more you meditate on his promises, the more you cultivate a mindset of peace, hope, and unwavering faith. In the end, his promises become the lens through which you view the world, and his truth becomes your firm foundation, no matter what you face. Trusting in God's character is the bedrock of a life free from worry. God is not just a distant figure, he is a loving father, a faithful provider, and a powerful protector. His character is unchanging, and when you truly understand who he is, you begin to live with a deep sense of security and peace, knowing that he is trustworthy in all things. When you trust in God's character, you are acknowledging that he is not just capable of meeting your needs, he is committed to doing so. He is not distant or indifferent to your struggles. He cares deeply about every aspect of your life, from the greatest challenges to the smallest details. His love for you is unconditional, not based on your performance or your circumstances. This unshakable love assures you that no matter what you face, you are never alone. The character of God reveals that he is always present, always aware, and always willing to intervene in your life for your good. God's character also reveals that he is wise beyond comprehension. When you trust in his wisdom, you release the need to understand everything that happens in your life. You stop trying to make sense of every situation through your own limited perspective. Instead, you choose to trust that God knows what he's doing, even when things don't go as planned. He sees the end from the beginning, and his perspective is eternal. His decisions are based on a perfect understanding of what is best for you, even when it doesn't align with your own desires or timing. Another vital aspect of God's character is his faithfulness. He is a covenant-keeping God, meaning he always honors his promises. His word does not return void, and what he has spoken, he will perform. You can trust that when God promises to provide, to protect, and to guide, he will do exactly that. His faithfulness is not dependent on your actions, but on his unchanging nature. This faithfulness gives you peace, because you know that even when you stumble or fail, God will not abandon you. He will keep his promises regardless of the circumstances. Moreover, God's character is a reflection of his goodness. His plans for you are always good, and his heart towards you is full of compassion and grace. When you face difficulty, it's easy to question whether God is good or if he really has your best interests at heart. But trusting in his goodness means that you believe in his ability to bring something beautiful out of every situation. Even when life feels overwhelming, you know that God's goodness will shine through, and he will use everything for your ultimate benefit. To trust in God's character is to believe that he is working for you even when you can't see it. It means resting in the knowledge that he is always acting in your best interest, orchestrating every detail of your life to bring you closer to your purpose. Trusting in his character removes the need to worry, because you know that the one who holds your life is all wise, all loving, and all powerful. When you place your trust in God's character, you let go of the need to control every situation. You stop seeking your own solutions, and instead you rest in the assurance that his plan is always better. His wisdom guides you, his faithfulness sustains you, and his love covers you. This trust transforms the way you approach life. It shifts your mindset from one of fear to one of confident expectation. You can face anything, not because you have all the answers, but because you know that the God you serve is greater than anything you will ever face. In the end, trusting in God's character is not about believing that life will always be easy or painless. It is about knowing that no matter what happens, God is good, he is faithful, and he is in control. His character is the foundation upon which your faith stands, and when you anchor your trust in who he is, you will find peace that surpasses understanding. When you choose to release your worries and trust God with what you cannot control, you enter into a place of peace that surpasses human understanding. This peace is not contingent upon your circumstances, but rather it comes from a deep sense of trust that God is working on your behalf, even in the most uncertain moments. It is an internal calm, a quiet confidence that no matter how chaotic the world around you may seem, you are held in the hands of a loving and faithful God. Release is an act of surrender, a conscious decision to lay down your fears and anxieties and acknowledge that there are things beyond your ability to influence. It is acknowledging your limitations and choosing to trust in God's infinite wisdom and power. This act of letting go is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. It requires courage to stop trying to control everything and trust that God's plan is better than anything you could devise on your own. When you release your worries, you shift from a mindset of control to one of trust. You stop trying to orchestrate every detail of your life, and instead you allow God to direct your steps. You stop clinging to your own understanding and choose to lean on his wisdom. This act of release is a declaration that you believe in God's sovereignty, that he is in control, and that his timing, his plans, and his provision are perfect. Releasing your worries also means accepting the fact that you cannot solve every problem on your own. The weight of the world does not rest on your shoulders alone. God is not asking you to carry the burden of everything that comes your way, but rather he invites you to cast your cares upon him. In doing so, you allow yourself to experience freedom from the weight of worry. You are free to focus on the present moment, to respond with faith, and to walk in peace, knowing that God has it all in his hands. The peace that comes from releasing your worries also brings clarity. When you let go of the anxiety that clouds your mind, you open yourself up to the guidance of the Holy Spirit. You begin to see things from a divine perspective and make decisions not based on fear, but on faith. The peace that God offers allows you to make wise choices, free from the anxiety and confusion that often accompany stress. Moreover, when you release your worries, you make room for growth. Worrying consumes energy that could be better used for personal development, relationships, and purpose. When you stop giving space to fear, you start focusing on what truly matters. You begin to cultivate a life of gratitude, recognizing the blessings that are already present and trusting that God will provide what you need in the future. This peace that comes with release also brings a sense of rest. You no longer have to strive in your own strength. You no longer have to keep pushing, worrying, or manipulating the circumstances around you. You can rest in the assurance that God is at work, that He is guiding you, and that He will provide for every need at the right time. This rest is not passive. It is a proactive trust in God's provision and His timing. You are free to move forward in life, not burdened by what you cannot control, but empowered by the peace that comes from knowing God is with you. When you release your worries, you also experience the profound sense of liberation that comes from trusting God with your future. You no longer carry the weight of what ifs or why me. You embrace the freedom of knowing that God has a purpose for every season and that His plans for you are always good. You trust that He is leading you towards something greater and that every obstacle and challenge is part of His divine process to shape and refine you. In releasing your worries, you find not only peace but also purpose. You are no longer consumed by fear or stress, but free to live a life that reflects the confidence and assurance that God is in control. This release is an ongoing choice to trust in God's faithfulness, to rest in His promises, and to walk in the peace that He provides, knowing that He is always working on your behalf. There is great strength in choosing to rest in God's timing. It is easy to become frustrated when things don't unfold according to our plans or within our desired time frame. We live in a fast-paced world where instant gratification is often the expectation, and waiting can feel like an unbearable trial. Yet the process of waiting on God is not one of inactivity or frustration. It is an active expression of faith, trust, and obedience. When you rest in God's timing, you acknowledge that He knows exactly what He is doing, even when you don't understand the delay or the detours along the way. Resting in God's timing means surrendering the need to control every outcome. It is recognizing that His plans are always better than ours and that His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our desires or expectations. We may not always see it, but God is working behind the scenes, preparing the way for something greater than we could ever imagine. His wisdom and understanding far exceed our own, and He orchestrates every detail of our lives with divine purpose. Trusting in His timing means believing that He knows when to open doors, when to close them, and when to prepare us for what lies ahead. When you rest in God's timing, you stop rushing ahead of Him, driven by impatience or fear. You stop trying to make things happen on your own and instead allow God to lead you at the pace He knows is best for you. This is not a passive resignation, but an active decision to follow His lead, trusting that He will make all things beautiful in their time. You understand that the waiting process is not wasted. It is a time of preparation, a season where God is shaping and refining your character, developing your patience, and strengthening your trust in Him. Resting in God's timing also frees you from the burden of comparison. In a world where we are constantly measuring ourselves against others, it's easy to become discontent with where we are in life. You might look around and see others seemingly moving ahead faster or achieving their goals quicker. But when you rest in God's timing, you let go of the pressure to keep up with others. You begin to understand that your journey is unique and that God's plan for your life is specific to you. His timing is not dictated by the pace of those around you. It is dictated by His purpose for your life. In resting in God's timing, you also embrace the power of patience. Patience is not merely the ability to wait, but the ability to trust while waiting. It is the ability to stay steady, to remain faithful, and to continue moving forward in the direction God has set for you, even when you don't see immediate results. Patience in God's timing teaches you to rely on His faithfulness, knowing that He will never fail you. You begin to learn the rhythm of waiting with peace, trusting that in the appointed time He will bring forth His perfect will for your life. Moreover, resting in God's timing means accepting that some things may take longer than you expect. Sometimes God's timing involves a season of silence, a time where it feels like nothing is happening. But even in these seasons, God is at work. He is laying the groundwork, aligning circumstances, and preparing your heart for what's to come. In the waiting, you are being molded, your faith is being tested, and your character is being refined. The waiting process is never wasted. It is always part of God's plan to bring about His best for you. When you rest in God's timing, you also experience peace. You let go of the anxiety that often comes from trying to make things happen on your own. And you embrace the freedom that comes from trusting in His divine schedule. You stop stressing over deadlines and expectations, and instead you trust that God's plan will unfold at the perfect moment. This peace is not about the absence of difficulty or delay. It is the presence of trust in the one who controls time and holds your future in His hands. Resting in God's timing also requires learning how to discern His voice and His direction. It is not enough to simply wait passively for things to happen. You must remain in tune with God, continually seeking His guidance and being responsive to His promptings. Trusting in His timing means remaining faithful in the small things, staying obedient to His word, and allowing Him to direct your steps. As you do, you will find that the waiting period is not just a time of anticipation, but a time of deepening intimacy with God as you learn to listen, trust, and follow Him closely. Ultimately, resting in God's timing is a declaration of trust. It is an acknowledgement that He knows what is best for you and that He will provide exactly what you need when you need it. It is an act of faith, choosing to wait with confidence in His ability to bring about His perfect will for your life. By resting in His timing, you can experience peace, contentment, and joy, knowing that God is in control and that He is working all things together for your good. Embracing the journey of personal growth and transformation requires understanding that it is a continuous process, one that never truly ends. Growth is not a single event, it is a lifelong commitment to becoming more of who you were created to be. The path toward transformation is rarely linear. It involves moments of clarity and times of confusion, periods of success and seasons of struggle. Yet every step, whether forward or backward, is part of a divine process that shapes you into your highest potential. When you embark on the journey of growth, it is essential to realize that change begins from within. External circumstances may shift, but true transformation is an inner work. It is a change of mindset, a new way of thinking, and a redefinition of what you believe to be possible. This journey requires a willingness to examine yourself honestly, to confront your weaknesses, and to acknowledge areas where you need improvement. It demands that you let go of outdated beliefs, negative habits, and self-limiting thoughts that have held you back from reaching your full potential. Personal growth requires an openness to learning and being challenged. Often the greatest moments of growth come when you are pushed beyond your comfort zone, when you encounter obstacles that test your resilience and character. These challenges are not setbacks, they are stepping stones that refine you. They are the moments where your faith is tested, your courage is strengthened, and your determination is solidified. Each challenge presents an opportunity to rise above, to discover new strengths, and to develop the perseverance necessary to keep moving forward. You begin to understand that growth is not about avoiding difficulty, but learning how to overcome it with grace and wisdom. To embrace personal growth, you must also develop the courage to embrace change. Change is inevitable. It is the constant force that drives progress and development. However, change often brings discomfort, fear, and uncertainty. Yet it is in this discomfort that growth happens. When you allow yourself to move through the discomfort of change, you find yourself evolving in ways you never thought possible. You realize that the person you are becoming is far more capable, resilient, and resourceful than the person you once were. Growth allows you to expand your capacity to handle greater responsibility, take on new challenges, and rise to a higher level of excellence. Part of this journey also involves embracing self-discipline. Growth does not happen by accident. It requires intentionality. You must be willing to take responsibility for your own development. This means prioritizing what matters most, investing time and energy into the things that will propel you forward, and making sacrifices when necessary. The path of personal growth demands focus, consistency, and commitment. It is not a matter of fleeting motivation, but of sustained discipline and determination. As you discipline yourself to grow, you begin to see the fruits of your labor in your character, your mindset, and your accomplishments. Another crucial element of embracing the journey of personal growth is understanding the importance of perseverance. Growth is not instantaneous, it is a process that unfolds over time. There will be moments when you feel discouraged, when progress seems slow, or when you question if the effort is worth it. It is during these times that your commitment to growth is truly tested. Perseverance is the ability to keep going even when the road is tough, to push forward even when you feel exhausted, and to maintain a hopeful vision for your future even when it seems distant. The ability to persevere is what separates those who achieve lasting transformation from those who give up before the breakthrough. As you continue along the path of growth, you will also learn the importance of reflection. Personal growth does not happen in a vacuum. It requires a willingness to reflect on your experiences, to learn from both successes and failures. Reflection allows you to gain insight into your actions, to recognize areas of improvement, and to celebrate the progress you've made. It is through reflection that you begin to understand the deeper lessons embedded in your journey. You start to see that every experience, whether good or bad, has purpose and meaning, and that they are all contributing to the person you are becoming. Growth also involves developing a deeper understanding of your purpose. It is not enough to simply grow for the sake of growing. True transformation happens when you grow towards something greater than yourself. Purpose gives direction to your growth. It gives you a reason to keep going when the road gets tough. It is your purpose that fuels your passion and keeps you moving forward even when faced with setbacks. As you grow, you align more closely with your true purpose, discovering who you are meant to be and how you are meant to impact the world around you. Ultimately, embracing the journey of personal growth means accepting that transformation is a lifelong process. There is no finish line, no moment where you will have arrived. Instead, each phase of growth opens the door to a new level of development, a new stage of becoming. You continue to evolve, refine, and deepen as you move forward in your life's journey. Growth is not just about achieving success or reaching a destination. It is about the ongoing, ever-deepening process of becoming the person you were created to be. It is a commitment to continuous improvement, a dedication to becoming the best version of yourself, and a willingness to embrace every opportunity for change and development that life offers. Trusting God with what you cannot control means surrendering your need for answers and letting go of the illusion that you have to have everything figured out. It requires acknowledging that there are forces beyond your understanding, beyond your reach, and beyond your ability to influence. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but a profound demonstration of strength and faith. It is an act of courage to step back from the chaos and the unknown and place your full trust in the one who holds everything in his hands. When you trust God with what you cannot control, you are acknowledging that there are circumstances in life that you simply cannot change or predict. You may face situations that are out of your control, whether they involve other people, world events, or even your own health. In these moments, the human tendency is often to fight, to worry, or to try and manipulate the situation to your favor. Yet trusting God means letting go of that fight and embracing a higher perspective. It is choosing to believe that God is fully aware of the situation and that his wisdom, his power, and his love are greater than anything you could ever comprehend. You realize that no matter how much you struggle or strive, there are things that are far beyond your ability to control, and it is in those moments of surrender that you make room for God to step in and work in ways that you could never imagine. Trusting God also means recognizing that his timing is always perfect. The storms of life may rage, but you don't have to fight them alone. Stop carrying burdens you were never meant to bear. Surrender your worries to God and watch how he turns your chaos into calm and your fear into faith. Trust him, he's never failed, and he won't start with you.